but it was like changing colors. It was like there was a blue and a green, and it was, I don't know, it was just like a solid ball. It looked like energy, as I kind of mentioned in the video.
Manufactured, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the photo thing that we were just talking about.
Hill Air Force Base is in Layton, Utah, and it's a sensitive base. We have some jets there. I think there might be ICBMs there as well. We have a radar tower on top of Francis Peak that kind of does the radar for the base, I believe, and for the Salt Lake City International Airport.
75 ABW are based there, and it looks like they do a lot of logistics and reconnaissance work, according to Wikipedia. That's interesting. The following is a conversation with Trevor. Trevor is a local resident who lives not too far from Hill Air Force Base in Utah. Trevor's taken some footage of what appears to be an orb, 2 pieces of footage in fact, and we'll be looking at both of those pieces of footage, and we'll be looking at the sensitive area where that footage was taken over. So let's dig into it. Look, thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it, and appreciate you sort of reaching out and showing me the footage that you had.
Yeah, you bet.
If it's okay with you, can we sort of jump in first of all? How did you first spot this object, and what were your first thoughts when you first saw it?
Well, so let me back up just a little bit. Just watching the local news, and it was on the news that there was drone sightings over Hill Air Force Base. Hill Air Force Base is in Layton, Utah, and it's a sensitive base. We have some jets there. I think there might be ICBMs there as well. We have a radar tower on top of Francis Peak that kind of does the radar for the base, I believe, and for the Salt Lake City International Airport. So, and I've been up there. There's access up there, ride my dirt bike up there, and there's just all sorts of terrain back there. And it's about 5,000 feet above the valley floor. So I decided to just jump in my truck, go over to Hill Air Force Base to see what I could see on December 18th, and was driving out there, and I came up on the road. It's called Hill Air Force Base Road, and heading northbound. And I was at like the south gate of Hill Air Force Base, and I had seen some lights already coming towards me. So I was paying attention to that, and that's why I was driving that direction. Stopped at the light to take a left, to then turn around and go look back at the valley to see if I could see anything else, because that's where the planes come in from Salt Lake City Airport, and so forth. And as I was at the light, the lights approached me and flew over me, and I did not get video of this, but it looked like the slender plane that they're showing, like on News Nation or any of the other major networks, where the wings are kind of tapered back, and it seemed like it was probably anywhere from 600 to 1,000 feet up off the ground, and just flew right over me. Pretty dang quiet. It seemed like it was going pretty slow compared to like a plane, like a jet, and it was oddly flying over Hill Air Force Base, not like over the runways, but adjacent to it. I don't know. Like, I don't normally see jets flying over Hill Air Force Base, unless it's like like the F-35 or whatever, the F-22 or whatever they're flying over there. So it was definitely not that. I mean, those things are extremely loud, where this was very low noise. So I took a left after the light changed, went down probably about a half a mile, and pulled over on a road that kind of set up on a hill, and I can look back at the valley and at Francis Peak that has the radar tower on it. And I was just kind of looking around, and I saw this light up there, higher than Francis Peak, as you can see in the video.
It's like over our house. That's insane. Let's go there. Yeah, that's weird. There's the radar tower in Francis Peak. And that is above it. It's kind of hard to hold it still. It is moving It's like an energy almost. A multicolored energy. This is pretty wild. Let me get closer to it.
But it was like changing colors. It was like there was a blue and a green. And it was, I don't know, it was just like a solid ball. It looked like energy, as I kind of mentioned in the video. But I don't know if the video was kind of blending everything together because it was at night. I think my phone's pretty decent, but always night shots are pretty difficult. So, and it was quite a ways away. I would say it was probably about 11 miles away or so. And so I wanted to get closer. So I just kind of took the route back along the Wasatch Front, the Rocky Mountains, and tried to get back towards it. And then stopped in a neighborhood, popped out, grabbed a buddy, and we looked at it as well together. But at this point, it was further south.
So this would be less like manufactured, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the photo thing that we were just talking about. It's hard to hold it. But look at it move around. That's not, I'm shaking a little bit, but it itself looks like just energy.
Yeah. It's a trip. I don't know what it is. I really don't.
It's crazy, dude. It's like they're showing themselves to the world. To me, that's what it seems like to me.
So by the time I got from there to that neighborhood, it was about probably 10, 15 minutes. And, I don't think it was depth perception because you can see clearly in the first video, the radar tower with the object, I don't know, probably 300 meters above it or something like that, maybe 200 meters or something like that, and like left of it. But when I got to that neighborhood and took the second video, it was like on the right-hand side of it. In fact, Francis Peak was on my left, and it was further down the mountain range, just kind of hanging out. I get up early, and so I checked in the morning, and it was gone. So definitely not a star.
Yeah, I saw the picture. I mean, I've had a good look through it, and I've sort of slowed it down and put it through some filters and bits and pieces. But there's a lot. It like changes color. This is what's quite
It
fascinating about it. You've
does.
got greens and purples and blues
Yeah.
and
And
weird.
unfortunately, I'm a little shaky, especially in the second video. So I don't know if you can get your wizard Peter on the
Yeah.
job. He pulls out
Yeah.
some amazing things.
I was talking to him earlier on about it. I was like, "Oh, I've got some footage, and we're gonna have a look at this." And I think we
Yeah.
might do. We'll I'm gonna shoot it over to him, and I think he's gonna have a look and see what he can do with it. But it's really cool, really interesting footage. So you got two pieces of footage. One was was it 5-10 minutes earlier? You say you drove
It
to a
was
different location.
it was at 9:12, the first one. And I just wrote it down before the show just so I could give you accurate numbers. And then 10 p.m., like 9:59 or something like that, was the second one. So, there is quite a bit of time difference. So it's about 45 minutes
Yeah.
just driving around. So, and got back there.
So you say and it's always better unless you've got some real high tech kit. It's always better with the eyes than it is with cell phones, mobile phones. In my experience, you
Oh, for
just
sure.
tend to get an awful lot more context with your eyes.
Uh-huh.
So what could you see in terms of shape and size and distance? What was your
It,
perception?
it looked like an orb, looked like a ball. It wasn't moving at all. It I couldn't pick out any like lights that were separate from it or like away from it. It looked like it was all one, and then I guess spinning because the colors kept changing. So when it gets kind of stringy or whatever, I think that's just me, kind of moving because I was just holding the phone. The first video is not as bad because I was trying to brace myself against my truck, so it wouldn't move. But a little bit further away though.
Yeah. What kind of
Video.
distance? What were you? I know, I appreciate it's so difficult to say, but
Yeah.
what did you feel like? What does it feel like distance wise?
Well, the first video, I mapped it like on Google Earth, and it was about 11 miles, 11-ish miles. But then, of course, you've got the vertical aspect to it, and it was pretty close to the tower. I'd say 300 meters or whatever. So that I could tell a little bit more. But the second video, looking south, it was just wide open. So I have no idea. I mean, it could have been, a mile. It could have been 5 miles. But it was definitely the same thing, same color, same everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just looked like a ball of energy.
Yeah.
So, and other things I was looking around in the valley and stuff like that, you could see that, planes that were, had the strobe lights and the red and green lights and stuff like that. I did get another video that I haven't shared with you coming the other direction the next day, where there was like there was something flying really low, just right off of Interstate 15. And then there was something following it. But I put some filters on my phone to try and like adjust the lighting and stuff like that. So it's pretty grainy, but it still shows the one item following the other item. It's the quality is not nearly as good. And it's pretty shaky. And might be some profanity in it.
Well, that's just real life, isn't it? That's,
That's true.
in the moment. What did you hear anything? Was there any sort of sounds coming from it? Because quite often when we talk about helicopters or drones,
Mhm.
we've got that rotor
Yeah,
noise. If we talk about jets, we've got the jet
right.
noise even from a distance. Were you getting anything?
On the first two videos that I share with you, I didn't see anything, or I didn't hear anything at all. Obviously saw what I saw and you see in the video, but no noise at all. I don't know that was far enough away. I don't know that I would have heard noise. I mean, maybe a helicopter, but if it was a smaller drone, it probably would have been farther away. But I just didn't look like a hobby drone or anything like that at all. And it looked like anything else that was flying around. I mean, we have a clear line of planes coming into the airport, because the area that I live in, we have the Great Salt Lake, and then we have, the Rocky Mountains, the Wasatch Front, and then we have like the other mountains, the Ochre Mountains on the other side. So the planes just kind of either come from north to south or south to north inland. So it's kind of you can look out and you can see a string of lights of planes approaching the airport. It's pretty obvious. But yeah, I mean I've been out a couple more times, haven't seen a whole lot, but it's been snowing and there's been clouds and fog and stuff like that. So not a
Yeah.
whole lot of activity since, but that doesn't mean they're there. They're not
Yeah.
there. So
So so it was over the base, so Hill Air Force Base in. I've got it up on the screen. Let me just sort of read this out from what's
yeah.
on Wikipedia. So Hill Air Force Base is a major U.S. Air Force base located in Davis County, Utah, just
Mhm.
south of the city of Ogden and bordering the cities of Layton, Clearfield, Riverdale, Roy, and Sunset, and its largest border immediately adjacent to Clearfield and Layton. It is 30 miles north of Salt Lake City. And it says here that Ogden Air Logistics Complex provides world engineering and logistics and management for the F-35 Lightning II, the F-16 Lightning Falcon, the
Mhm.
A-10 Thunderbolt II, and the intercontinental ballistic missile.
Mhm.
The 75th Air Base Wing, 75ABW, are based there, and it looks like they do a lot of logistics and reconnaissance work, according to Wikipedia. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So,
It's a
yeah.
target, sure.
Yeah, yeah, we're hearing a lot about drones, UAP,
Mhm. Right.
orbs
Yep.
over military bases, air force bases. It's very
That
interesting.
first one that I wish I would have gotten a video of, but it was the first one I saw and it flew right over me. That was strange, but it looked like a plane. Like I could see it plain as day because it wasn't very high and there was like street lights everywhere, light from the ground shining up and hitting it. But to fly over the base like that, I thought was very strange. Anytime they fly anything, it's like the F-35s, and they are screaming loud, like super loud.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went to school right down the street from the Hill Air Force Base, so we would hear them in class, and you couldn't hear the teacher teach as they
Yeah.
flew over. They're that loud.
Yeah.
So, and then we have helicopters all the time. There's no way that either of those were helicopters. I mean, I'm not a trained observer, but I live like in Helicopter Alley over because they fly close to the mountain range for some reason. So like life flight when they're going to help somebody, any of the military helicopters, and they cruise along and they're loud.
Yeah.
So
And you saw this with a friend or
yeah,
some
I saw with a friend the second video. He wasn't with me on the first video, but you can hear my voice. I mentioned something about it looks like less manufactured. What I'm saying is it doesn't look like somebody made it.
yeah.
The star, it looked like the brightest star in the sky, but then with those changing colors, it didn't look like anything that was man-made. I don't know what it was, but super interesting.
Yeah,
And I'd look
absolutely.
other nights to see if I could see it again. I haven't seen it since, but it was strange that it was sitting relatively close to the radar tower, which is within like, view of Hill Air Force Base. Like if you do Google Earth and you go to Francis Peak, you can look down right at Hill Air Force Base
Yeah.
and the whole valley.
What phone were you using? What some cell phone that you
Yeah, it's
recorded
the
on?
Samsung S22 Ultra Note
Okay.
Plus or something like that. Yeah, it's a couple years old, but pretty decent camera. I
Yeah.
know night shots are really hard and any movement. So that's the limitation, I think, with
Yeah,
any
we get
phone.
we get so much sort of criticism. Well, why isn't it on a tripod? Like he's just driving home or he's just driving
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
shop. You're like, he's not
I'm
going to just
not
carry
planning
a
on.
phone around on a tripod.
Yeah, I'm just a dude with a phone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear that criticism a lot. I was like that we're not living in the real world here. People don't just carry tripods around with their phone ready to go for any UAP on the way home or on the way
Right.
to work. But
If I sent you that other video, I'm scrambling just to try to take video because might be in the driver's seat
yeah,
and probably
yeah,
not a good idea. But
no, definitely not. Did you, just out of interest, did you have any sense or any kind of feeling? Was there anything that felt, hairs on the back of your neck go up? Was there
no,
anything like that?
I might be a little desensitized because I am interested in the subject and it's fascinating, everything that's going on. So I am kind of like I want to see a drone, but there's obvious like the flight tracker and stuff like that. I mean, I haven't actually done that, but I don't see how it could have been uh, a plane, in that instance or a helicopter. So that would be good to overlay on that.
Yeah.
But I did not feel. I guess what I'm saying is I might be a little bit desensitized just because I've seen a ton of videos and follow your podcast, which is awesome, and just trying to learn about the subject.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
but I was in awe. It's clearly like my reaction wasn't like over the top, but it was just a light in the sky.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It was the same for me when I had sort of a sighting of something really weird. There wasn't this like, earth shaking kind of moment. It wasn't this super, super profound moment. It was just like, that's really strange. What's that? And, you
exactly.
start thinking in your head,
Yeah.
what could it be? Like thinking of conventional
Yeah.
explanations. And well, it can't be that. And it can't be that. And it doesn't seem to be that. And for me, it was more of a slow build. Like that's really unique. That's exotic. I don't know what it is. And then you think about it a bit more afterwards. Is what not so much one of those kind of profound moments where I'm like,
Right.
lose
And
lose
now if it
losing
was
my legs.
yeah, if it was sitting right over me, it might be a different story.
Yeah,
It was far enough away that, it's interesting. And, I actually grabbed, somebody else was walking by. I grabbed him over. I didn't get this on camera. And he said, "Hey, does that look like a star to you?" And he said, "No, I don't know what that is." But you can hear my buddy in the background, also kind of echo that.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
wow.
think I find it really fascinating, especially hearing the people's real time reactions to stuff when they talk, especially when they're with a friend, because they're kind of voicing it to somebody they trust, and like we get quite a lot from that. And I think it's so important to hear from people because we see so many videos, and some of
Mhm.
them are
Yeah,
fake, and some of them have just
right.
audio's been added on top, and you've
Yeah.
got I keep hearing like the same. There's like an audio that people keep putting on videos, which is, oh my God, mom, come check this out. And I heard it like on 50 different videos. And I'm just
Oh,
like,
really?
that's clearly fake. So I think it's
Yeah.
so important for people like me and others that have podcasts or Instagram accounts or whatever to try and get as much information as possible from these videos. And so to
Yeah.
speak to people like yourself who actually took the footage and to have a good conversation about it just
Right.
adds so much credibility to it. But there's that extra data that we can get from it. So it's I
Well, that's
really
what I like.
appreciate you. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
that's
you
what I like
talking to
about
me.
your podcast is like I feel like I can trust it. There's a lot out there where there's light shooting lasers, and it's like, what is going on here? Like this,
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we're having this conversation is out of this world, right? And then you layer on all this other AI stuff, and it kind of ruins it. So it's tough to tell, what's real, what's not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise out there, like you said. So that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to bring it forward because it's just video I took, like do what you want, and that's why I sent it to you because
Yeah.
I knew you'd do it justice. And
Thank
I want to
you.
see what Peter will do with it. That would be really
Yeah.
cool. He can pull
Yeah, no,
something
I
out.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's already aware of it, so I'm going to fire it off
Sweet.
to him, and we'll see
Yeah.
what we can come up with, and
Cool. Cool.
that'd be really interesting because I mean the
Yeah.
footage is cool. Even the screenshots that I've got, they're really interesting. Just the color changes, they're so unique. You don't really, I mean, I've not
Yeah. And
seen that before.
there's no way it was a plane. I mean, I have no idea. Or a helicopter, but I am going to go back and look at the flight tracker and just double check it because I know we have air traffic. It wasn't moving though. So, and if it was a hobby drone, this thing was, Francis Peak was 5,000 feet off the valley floor. It was probably, I don't know, another 300, another 1,500 feet above that potentially. I don't know. But a hobby drone's not going to go that high. I don't think anyway. And by the time I would have taken the first video and the second video, which is about 45 minutes, they typically don't even last that long
Yeah.
on the battery life.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah,
um,
absolutely. Awesome. Well, Trevor, thank you so much. I really appreciate you reaching out. This is
you
super cool
bet.
footage, and thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I really do
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I love to hear an update when Peter's got one, and I'll take a look at the flight tracker radar stuff and shoot you a note. All right.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Trevor.
Sydney.
Appreciate that,
Take
man.
care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye now.